Why? That's mommy's. Use this if you want to smell like that tea.
You never had to question if you were a man, so why give your money to a corporation that doesn't know if their products are made for men? Try Jeremy Razor's hair and body products. Jeremy shampoo and conditioner are made with tea tree oil to naturally clean and restore your hair and scalp, argan oil to soften your hair and not your masculinity, and aloe vera to moisturize the hair and scalp. It's all paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, and most importantly, 100% woke-free. Not to mention, it smells amazing. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Fani Willis. Fani Willis, they just held a hearing yesterday whether or not to allow Fani Willis to testify in this court hearing on February the 15th, and also some key witnesses that allege that they have firsthand knowledge about Nathan Wade and Fani Willis affair. So we'll discuss that. Also, we'll be getting back to Boston, Massachusetts. We discussed that yesterday. Boston, Massachusetts actually had an influx, or they're beginning to have an influx of immigrants, illegal immigrants, and some of the, city officials, the mayor and some of the aldermen, would like the residents to open up their home to sponsor the immigrants. Well, it's already happened, and we have a story that I would like to cover on one lady that opened up her home to a migrant. So we'll talk about that. And then we got some other things that I want to talk about that's flying low under the radar. So that's all today on another episode of Business Talks.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bap. What? This is what you call a bap. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bap. What? This is what you call a bap.
You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. We have someone all the way from Nuremberg, Germany. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I love my ad block. Thank you for tuning in once again. We have Bridget Holman in the building. Hello from Indiana. Ben Dover, Third Amendment violation. And you're the Lexichi. I always kill your name. You got to forgive me. Type it in the chat. Put it in the chat phonetically. So maybe I know I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Call her Fanny. Fanny. I thought her name was Fani's. I hear some people calling her Fanny. I don't know. Dwayne Manziel said, call her Big Fanny. Call her Big Fanny. Okay. We have Sybil Sadler from California. You guys, thank you for tuning in once again. So we're going to get started. Let me just share this with you. This is from CNN. Okay, yesterday, I'm going to show you some clips from the hearing. We'll view a couple of those from the hearing yesterday. And the judge, he was flat out, we need to do a discovery hearing. Basically, we need to see if the claims that Michael Roman and his co-defendants that latched on to disqualifying Fani Willis, are these claims valid? And he wants to know more. So yesterday they had Fani Willis' lawyer. I guess this is the attorney that's representing her, and the prosecutors that's prosecuting Michael Roman and all these other people. They were in court trying to get the judge to disqualify the witnesses that Michael Roman allegedly has. And it's not allegedly. They have a long list of witnesses that they would like to call. Some of the witnesses that the attorney was saying, hey, I tried to get them to talk to me, but they wouldn't talk to me. So they're subpoena all these people, I guess, that's currently working for Fani Willis and did prior work. And there's only one person that's claiming he has firsthand knowledge, and he's overheard some stuff, firsthand knowledge of Nathan Wade and Fani Willis relationship. Okay, so, and that's Nathan Wade's divorce attorney and Nathan Wade's colleagues. I guess they had a practice together. So they tried to argue, hey, this is attorney-client privilege, but prior to this guy being Nathan Wade's attorney, that's what they're trying to, the time frame. They're trying to get the time frame. Anywho, this is CNN. CNN totally agrees with what's going on. He feels like Fani should step down because of all this she's doing a disservice to the American people. Because of course they want to prosecute Trump. They're trying to get this case done and over with before the election because they think this is going to seal Trump's fate. Okay, I don't think it is, but this is the case that they're hanging their dear life on. Okay, so this is CNN. CNN, of course, it's liberal media, but they think very differently. This, I guess he was a law professor over ethics. He views the case very differently. So we're going to take a look at this. If it plays. And of course, it's an ad.
Your ancestry.
Like I said, so Anna Cross, let me just give you a rundown. Anna Cross is the lawyer representing the district attorney, attacked the motions to dismiss the case, arguing that defense attorney who brought the allegations against Willis and Wade are peddling in gossip. And of course, I already told you guys, I believe his name is Alex McCarthy or something like that. Alex, the judge, or McAfee, he doesn't agree. So this is what they're saying on CNN.
Not our business. You would say what?
Well, I would say what I have been saying about for 2 weeks now, Michael, which is that I think in the context of this motion to disqualify, which has now been brought by 3 different defendants, before the filing yesterday, it was my opinion that District Attorney Willis should seriously consider taking a temporary leave of absence and letting a career prosecutor take over the office and take over the case. After reading what she filed yesterday and the response by Mr. Roman's lawyer, that conviction is even stronger. That she should be taking a temporary leave. I think that her filing in that fairly vague, evasive affidavit by Mr. Wade just raises a myriad of factual issues that are going to take a long time to resolve and greatly delay the case. And as you were saying, it looks like now there's a window where Georgia could jump in this spring and maybe just do a Trump-only trial before the general election. It would be the only televised trial, far more important than the one going on in New York. But that opportunity is vanishing as long as District Attorney Willis continues to litigate this disqualification issue.
I'm glad that you made reference to the Nathan Wade affidavit. I'm going to put part of it up on the screen and read aloud some of what he said. No funds paid to me in compensation for my role as special prosecutor have been shared with or provided to DA Willis. The district attorney received no funds or personal financial gain from my position as special prosecutor. I've never cohabitated with her. I've never shared household expenses. I've never shared a joint financial account of any kind. The DA and I are both financially independent professionals. And then he goes on to say, we share expenses. Why is that in and of itself not compelling to you?
I'm going to tell you why it's not compelling. Hey, I hired you. You make $650,000. Your financial gain or whatever, it does benefit Fani Willis because we're sleeping together. It does benefit my man that we bumping uglies together. It does benefit me. I don't care if we sleep in the same household. Okay, you didn't change your address, but if your toothbrush is here every night, Your body is here every night. Who cares? Okay, we don't need to pay each other rent, but if I'm spoiling you and going on these lavish vacations, it does benefit you. You're talking about cohabiting and sharing the same bank account. Well, you don't share a bank account unless you're married. And some people don't even do that when they're married. So what is Nathan Wade? That just pointless. You're just typing blank black writings that's meaningless at this point. You can't tell anyone with common sense that this did not benefit Fani Willis or didn't benefit you. Right now, the argument is pointless, but I'll let the professor tell you his reasonings.
Well, let's take the last point about sharing expenses. So he seems to admit that he has paid for them to travel together. And the Roman response yesterday had attached documents from an outfit called Vacant Express that confirmed that he paid $3,600 for them to take a 3-day luxury trip to Aruba together. There is no claim in that affidavit or motion that she reimbursed him for 50% of that trip. Rather, they seem to be making this rather strange claim that they sort of take turns paying for trips. Well, that's very strange. So you're a public official, a private contractor takes you on a luxury trip to Aruba, and you don't reimburse your share of it. You say, "I'll pay for the next trip to the Caribbean." I mean, really? That's a very
right,
weak position
Professor, but in her brief, if we accept it at face value, what she is saying, she says she does share the expenses in similar fashion. As I read it, it was he may pay for this trip and I'll pay for another trip. Why is any of that? If the guy is doing quality work, and I'm not here to argue that he is, but let's just assume for the purpose of this discussion that he is. If he's doing quality work, why is any of this our business?
Well, it's the business of the court, and the defendants are saying that what they are arguing, which has yet to be decided. I'm not taking a position yet about whether the motions to disqualify should be granted. I think it's too early to say that, but they're taking the position that he is making a lot of money, over $600,000 as a private contractor on prosecuting them, and that she has a financial stake in the money he's getting because she's in personal relationship with him. So she wants him to make money, and that you could just stop right there. That's a problem. But that she directly benefits from his wealth because he takes her on lavish vacations. That's a pretty substantial claim that the prosecutor has a personal or financial interest in prosecuting these defendants. I'm not saying it's going to prevail, but it's going to be, I think, a long slog of litigation with a lot of disputed facts.
Okay. So
this gets resolved.
Let's end on that note. Big picture, perhaps what's most important as it relates to the election is that Clark Cunningham is here to argue delay is coming. And this case, in all likelihood, is not getting to trial before voters make up their mind. Fair assessment?
I think that District Attorney Willis is really running that risk by continuing to fight this disqualification issue, rather than she could make it go away 5 minutes from now by taking a temporary absence from the office. That's absolutely what she should do in the public interest.
So in the public interest, they're suggesting, this is the law professor, is suggesting Fani Willis should step down, not be disqualified, not take it and delay the court case. I just want to share this particular clip with you. Share this. This is the actual stream from yesterday, deciding whether if Fani Willis should testify. And then they get into all the other key witnesses. So Cross, I believe, Anna Cross, she's the attorney for Fani. And they kind of went back and forth because Anna Cross, she feels as if all the witnesses that I think this is Michael Roman's attorney is calling is hearsay. They really don't have any direct knowledge about Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. But come to find out, the judge actually rules in Michael Roman's attorney a favor on some of it. He said he wants to hear from them to see what they will tell us. If they find out if it's hearsay, then they're going to throw it out. They're not going to really go down that path of trying to figure it out. But it has to be direct knowledge. So that's why she wants them to subpoena, get these people into the court and under oath. Anywho, so let me just play, I believe, this part. I want to play for you.
You know, and the typical things that are asked in a divorce case. And he responded none. After we filed our motion.
Okay, you know what? Let me go back a little bit. This is another thing I want you guys to hear.
With the court that say something completely different. We don't believe it.
So the lady in the pink, she's basically saying, hey, we don't believe nothing Nathan Wade put in the counterclaim or the answer to the document. We don't believe nothing he's saying, because one day he said, hey, this relationship started back in November of 2022. And then in your divorce claim, you answered you never had a relationship with a romantic relationship outside the marriage while you were married. And then when he submitted the document to answer this claim, he resubmitted the document on his marriage claim, his divorce, admitting that he did have a relationship, I guess November of 2022. That's when the relationship started. So this is what she's saying. So that's why she's saying, hey, I don't believe anything he's saying, because he lied once, he will lie again. And we're talking about Nathan Wade.
An affidavit is admissible in this case. You can cherry pick in an affidavit what you want to talk about, and there's no cross-examination. So that is not, it's not admissible. We put that in our brief. We've argued that it's just not admissible. It's not relevant. It's hearsay. It's nothing more than hearsay. We have a right to make a record on these allegations. And as long as we keep our evidence and our questions narrowly tailored to that inquiry, that is our right. We have a right to explore whether or not there was a personal or financial benefit to Miss Willis from this relationship. And we have carefully chosen the witnesses that we have subpoenaed based on that. And I just want to walk through a couple of them. But before I do, before I move on the affidavit issue, Mr. Wade has filed other affidavits in his divorce case which contradict this affidavit. His interrogatories, which were sworn and verified and filed in that case, said that he did not have a personal relationship, that there had been none. So we've got two declarations in two different courts, both sworn, both filed with the court, that say something completely different. His May 2023 affidavit, where he was asked if he had, and this was in 2023, Judge. So the state's response last week said they had a relationship that began in 2022. In May of 2023, he filed in the Cobb County Superior Court a pleading that said specifically if he had had any relations with a person other than his spouse during the course of the marriage, and the typical things that are asked in a divorce case, and he responded none. After we filed our motion in this case, he updated those and he pled
no contest.
So we've got a filing under oath by Mr. Wade in 2023 stating he didn't have a relationship. Then we've got a filing stating he did have one starting in 2022. And then once that came about, he fixes the date. We've got whether or not they cohabitated, whether or not there were any funds that he was paid, that he used for travel with Miss Willis. We have quite a few documentations that we have attached to filings, and we have more that we intend to present at the hearing in this case to show that she did receive a lot of benefit, a lot of financial benefit in the forms of different trips, plane tickets, hotel rooms, Ubers, dinners, things like that. We have all of those from the financial records, which I'll go into in just a minute to stay on task. Go into those in just a minute. But that's as far as Wade. Why we think that Wade definitely should be called as a witness in this case.
So and he basically he lied on the affidavit. That's basically what he did. He's lied, and he didn't want nobody to know about it. He lied on his divorce case, probably trying to maybe keep his money that his newfound funds from Fani Willis. He probably this is what I heard. This is I'm not for sure if it's a rumor or not. I looked at the divorce proceedings. I didn't see it, but they're claiming that this Jocelyn Wade did sleep with his best friend, but it was not in the divorce proceedings. I think some people are saying, yes, she did have a relationship. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He's the attorney at law. He tried to hide that he had this relationship with Fani Willis. Okay. And since he tried to hide it, they're looking at him like he lies all the time. You're a liar and a cheat. And, if you talk about the kind of conduct or a person's, their moral code, their code of conduct, how they act on certain things. Nathan Wade is the guy that destroyed documents. He was hired to do an investigation, and for him, I guess for another county, and I guess the investigation wasn't ruling in his favor or whatever, and so he decided to destroy court documents. So this is the type of guy that we're dealing with. So he's not ethical. He's not an ethical person. Let's put it that way. Nathan Wade is not an ethical person. Okay, so that's what she's trying to prove. Yeah, he has first-hand knowledge on their relationship because he's the other party. Duh. Okay, so why wouldn't Fani Willis have to testify? Unless they're going to lie on the stand, The attorney Cross is saying it's all a spectacle. She said, hey, they're just trying to have a circus courthouse. Well, it's good for TV. This is drama, but we still it's still a set standards that they have to uphold. Okay, so you're losing the public's faith, basically. You're saying, hey, we want to uphold the law on everybody else and have these ethical and moral standard on everybody else besides yourself. Come on, Fanny, what's going on? You can't do that. Anyway, so she talks about that. And then she gets into the different witnesses.
That role, that personal assistant role. And my investigations revealed how Miss Yurdy knew all of the travel arrangements, purchasing, things like that. And that's what led me to Miss Green.
Okay, all right.
So the other area, all of the other folks for the DA's office are people in security, essentially, investigations in security. They are people who have served as the personal detail for Miss Willis.
Hill, Green, and Ricks, right?
Yes, Hill, Green, and Ricks. And those folks have served as Miss Willis's, she calls them the head of dignitary services. It's essentially the team that follows her around and takes her places. And they would be able to testify, from the witnesses I've talked to, they would be able to testify about she and Nathan going to the safe house together, living at the safe house together, staying there regularly, things like that. Cohabitating, essentially, which disputes what is in the affidavit.
But I guess if you're referring to maybe a specific date or time frame, you don't know which of these three witnesses, if any of them, might personally know about that time frame or could.
I believe all three of them do. I believe
Okay.
all three of them know about that. I've spoken with other people who were formerly on the dignitary services who did not do that and who identified who are the ones that actually would have that direct knowledge, actually did the transport of Miss Willis and Mr. Wade.
And so if either of these individuals came and denied having any knowledge whatsoever, you have someone who could impeach them having made a prior statement explicitly on that point?
Yes, I do.
All right, what else?
I think the only other issue for the district attorney's office was the bank records. I don't know if you wanted me to go ahead and go into that now or wait for Mr. Evans to talk about that. The state had.
Right, no, I think we'd want to loop him in on that.
Staff or team. Ms. Yurdi was.
So now Anna Cross is, rebutting all or refuting all the claims that Michael Roman's attorney is making. She's basically going to say, hey, they don't have firsthand knowledge. But you don't know if they have firsthand knowledge or not. Of course, they're going to talk to you. But we need to know. So since they won't talk to us and say, hey, I don't have firsthand knowledge, then we need to get them on the stand. Anyway, so she's rebutting everybody that she called or witness that she wants to call during this hearing on the 15th. She's refuting that.
Not someone who kept the district attorney's schedule or calendar. The allegations here are she worked on the media team was her role. The media team, not the executive staff or team or responsible for calendaring the district attorney's office.
But just to be clear, I mean, your motion doesn't cover Ms. Yurdi. That's
it doesn't. It doesn't.
But you're saying that impacts the argument towards Ms. Green. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. And the other individuals, Ms. Merchant didn't make a representation to the court about how Mr. Bradley would know about the knowledge of Ms. Allen, Mr. Bond, and Ms. Young. That is, I think, relevant information. If it's not admissible, any impeachment evidence she has would not be admissible. Likewise, the security.
Why wouldn't it be admissible?
If Mr. Bradley heard that second or third hand that Ms. Allen knew this, or Ms. Young was aware of that, or Mr. Bond said this to someone else at a different.
That wasn't the impression I got. The impression I got, and we can correct this while we're all here together, is that Mr. Bradley directly overheard a statement from each of these individuals that they could be impeached with. Ms. Merchant, is that accurate?
Directly overheard. Which ones are we talking about?
Well, essentially, that kind of seemed to be all of them. You had said Allen, Bond, Young, and then the investigators, Hill, Green, and Ricks, could all be directly impeached by statements overheard by Mr. Bradley.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Cross.
I will be shocked if Ms. Merchant is able to support that statement. Shocked. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe, even if it was true, and it's not, and can I just say, when we're talking about the timeline and what might be relevant in an evidentiary hearing, there is, I guess we could spend a lot of time talking about dates and timelines and who is responsible, but for the record, and should there be an evidentiary hearing, I understand the court's ruling, there's an evidentiary hearing, what the state will establish with unequivocally is that there was no cohabitation. District Attorney Willis and Nathan Wade never lived together, that the representations that have been made to date are just demonstratively untrue. For example, the allegation is that they lived together in District Attorney Willis's home prior to District Attorney Willis's father living with her, and that the father, when the father moved in, then Mr. Wade moved out. Of course, that is untrue, and the state would be able to establish that Mr. Floyd, District Attorney's father, moved in, even changed his Georgia driver's license prior to the time that the District Attorney and Mr. Wade ever met. That the testimony from Mr. Floyd would be that he lived there continuously and never saw Mr. Wade there. The evidence would be that the timeline that's being represented is either mistaken, if that's charitably, or simply fabricated. So I just want the court to understand that this is a hearing that we're contemplating, and I understand the rulings. But to return to your question about Ms. Allen, Mr. Bond, and Ms. Young, I believe that the spectacle of calling opposing counsel to, in this case, deny that they have any knowledge about a relationship, because they didn't have any knowledge about a relationship, and certainly none that contradicts the Wade affidavit. Calling them in to say that, and then another individual to say, no, I heard otherwise, appears to have very little evidentiary value. I will put it that way, even if the good faith basis that Ms. Merchant represents has very little evidentiary value.
So you heard that. She got caught up and she didn't know how to respond to the Judge McAfee, asking the attorney Merchant, hey, your witness has first-hand knowledge of statements that came out of these other witnesses' mouth. And across, she's saying all this stuff is fabricated and you're making a spectacle out of the courts. We don't know, but the judge is going to allow it. So what do you do, Anna Cross? You're just going to have to go back to the drawing board to prove that these witnesses, if they come out and say, yeah, we have firsthand knowledge that, yeah, I scheduled a trip because they're subpoenaing their Fani Willis assistant, her personal assistant. Yeah, I scheduled so-and-so trip. I booked their trip to so-and-so. I mean, what can you do? They're subpoenaing the security guard, her security detail. Yeah, I dropped them off at so-and-so, or I would drop Fani here at this place and she would be in there 2 to 3 hours and then she'll leave. They will have firsthand knowledge of who's coming in and out of their supposedly hotel room or wherever they meeting at his house or wherever. So Anna Cross is like right now not on earth. You know, she's acting as if, okay, you've already, since Fani Willis already admitted to the affair, why are you acting as if, you know, the next things that's coming is not going to come? It's like, it's going to come. All these other questions are going to get answered. So what's the problem? Like, what is your problem? Anyway, so Fani Willis will testify, and then these other people will be in a court. The star witness in this particular case is Nathan Wade's, I guess this would be his friend, colleague, and his ex-attorney, his divorce lawyer. That's the star witness. So I don't know how it's going to pan out. I think Fani Willis should step down. If anything, just step down. You'll save a whole bunch of headache and embarrassment for yourself. That's what I would do, you know. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that. You guys let me know what you think. We have Wolf STL from St. Louis. Yolanda Hicks saying it's a distraction. John Stein, your drink is bigger than you. Yeah, that's my Yeti cup. I don't understand why she would put herself in this mess. I don't understand either. The Lexi, they don't think they'll ever get caught or be caught. No, I don't think she thought. I think she probably was like, oh, I got this on a hush hush. Everybody likes me. They're turning a blind eye until she hit to this nationwide case of Donald Trump. People are going to pry, get into your business, and see what they could find about you. So, like I said yesterday, she should have made sure her house was clean. Anyway, Bonita said, I don't know why people don't think they could get away with lying. There's a paper trail in witnesses. Yeah. Like, come on now. Dana goes, love you too. Anyway. Love Ashley confidence. That's what you're saying. You're talking about Merchant. Ashley Merchant. And Headley with the Democrats in elected office is Groundhog Day each year and every day. Oh my God. Dwayne Manziel said, poor Anna is between a rock and a hard place. Right. Okay, so we're going to move to our next story. Our next story is about Boston. You guys, Boston, yesterday we talked about Boston. You know, we had a council member, I think her name was Julia Mija. She wanted everyone to open up their cities and their doors to immigrants, illegal immigrants, because she said it's everyone's responsibility. Okay, everyone's responsibility, and we all have to work together. That was her speech. Now we have something that's came in just recently. It says people in the Boston area, presumably liberals, are now taking in illegal immigrants, with one woman saying it's awesome because it's like having a private chef. Host homes are becoming more popular as the migrant crisis continues to spiral out of control. Unfortunately, only a handful of liberals who voted for illegal migrations are following through with their vote and taking migrants into their homes. And he goes to say, this is from Colin Rugg. I believe he's a journalist. 2.3 million people in Massachusetts voted for Biden in 2020 election. They should all be welcoming in migrant families like this. Okay, so you tell me what you think about this story. This was on, what is this? NBC. This was on NBC. And this is a Haitian immigrant. Okay? She's from Haiti.
Es muy difícil este tiempo. Oh.
She felt bad, as any mother would. Now things are looking much brighter as they've been welcomed into Lisa Hillenbrand's Brookline apartment.
Tu niña es muy alegre ahora.
Sí, muy alegre. Cuando se levanta en la mañana, se dice, "Ay, Lisa."
Oh. She says her daughter is very happy. When she wakes up in the morning, she says, "Hi, Lisa," and everyone starts the day smiling.
It's a delight, and it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking.
¿Te gusta la ocupación?
Sí.
In fact, her goal is to open up her own restaurant.
Quiero tener mi propio restaurante.
The couple has their work permits and they've been taking English classes.
Yo cualquier trabajo va a hacer para guardar mi dinero para hacer mi futuro.
They're open to work anywhere to save money for their future. In the meantime, they're enjoying their time with Lisa, their new friend for life, and their daughter's new grandmother.
Se abuela mi niña.
They are hardworking. They want to learn. They want to be successful. And I feel great helping, and I get to understand the refugee crisis from the inside.
Lisa says she's so impressed by the number of people she's met right here at Brookline Town Hall meetings who've been stepping up and hosting families. She's hopeful more will do the same in the coming days and weeks. In Brookline, Erin Logan, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, the need for more migrant shelters in Massachusetts is something we've been following really closely. You can find more information about this and find out how you can actually help on our website, NBC 10 Boston.
Okay, so you heard that. You heard that. The lady that accepted these migrants in, she is so happy. She's so happy because now she has firsthand knowledge of how it works, to understand people, to understand different cultures, and she's helping someone out. I'm not saying you should do it, but only reason why I wanted to play this story is because the comments. The comments are hilarious. And I think it rings true. You know, now are we getting some indentured servitude? Is this, oh, you're staying in my house for free, so you got to clean up, you got to cook, you got to do all this stuff. Well, you should pull your weight. But is this where we want to go with that? Anyway, so we have one comment on here. Oh, so now they will be exploiting and used for cheap labor. Gotcha. But, you know, somebody responded, actually, Colin Rugg, I don't see a problem with that because it's private chef thing. I think you're getting a free place to stay. It's the least that we could do. My take on it, we're going to have some victims in this. This is my personal opinion. We're going to have some victims in this whole. Somebody's going to open up their house to an illegal immigrant and something's going to happen. They're shining a light on this story because they're trying to get more people to sign up for this. And are they really staying for free? Is the government giving the person that's opening up their house some type of stipend? You think they would? You know, now this lady got to take care of 4 bodies or 3 other bodies, a daughter, a man, and a woman. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. You got to do a whole lot of cooking to stay here for free for 3 people. That's a whole lot of cooking you got to do. And then we got to buy enough food for everybody. Some people say, I think it's great that they're doing this. If they want to step up and doing this more, power to them. As long as it is a voluntary thing, I have no problem with it. Who would not want a private chef? Okay, so, you know, people are saying, who doesn't want a private chef? Host homes are the new free labor, cooking, cleaning, babysitting, sex slaves. That's interesting. I think there's some bad actors. Maybe this will be a good program to become a host for a family. We could give you a stipend to host a family, but what about these? I think it's going to be some bad actors in this whole program, and that's requiring for you to do all these things. So these migrants are great, and you don't even have to pay them. Listen to this. Try to ask illegal to leave and learn how inmate tenant law works real fast. They can stay forever. There's a special on Netflix, and it's called, what is it? My Nightmare Roommate or something like that. Roommate from Hell, I think it's called. Look it up. It's on Netflix. Roommate from Hell. And it's these people, they go around saying that they want to rent a room, and they act like they're going to give you a first month rent. After 3 days, whatever state or city they was in, after 3 days, they don't have to move. Then they start acting up. That's what this is. It says, can a person in Massachusetts kick out someone they had invited to stay in their home? In Massachusetts, a person can't simply kick out someone they invited to stay in their home without following the proper legal procedures. Just imagine you let somebody in your home. I'm getting choked up. You let somebody in your home, and then they start acting crazy and they won't leave. Just imagine that. You got the guests from hell. It says under the Massachusetts law, let me see if I can enlarge this. Under the Massachusetts law, a landlord must go through the court system to evict a tenant, and this applies to guests who have established residency as well. If a guest has lived in the home for more than 30 days or have received mail at the address, that's similar to Michigan, they may be considered a tenant or be protected by the state's tenant landlord laws. This lady, the lady that we just saw, where's her face at? The lady we just saw. She's gonna regret it. Nothing against that family. She will regret this. No good deed. What's the saying? No good deed is a good deed. I forgot the saying, you guys. No good deed is a good deed, or you got to pay for the good deed. Something about the good deed. No good deed is a good deed. I forget the saying. But it's not a good deed without a punishment. No good deed is without a punishment. That's a new saying. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know what it is. No good deed goes unpunished. Thank you. Thank you, Lexi. No good deed goes unpunished. Hello. This is what they're going to go. This lady, and I feel sorry for her, she's going to find out real quick that you can no longer evict these people after 30 days. She probably got a set time. Hey, you could stay with me 90 days or 6 months. I'm glad to have you. And then after 6 months, what are you going to do? Or after 90, whatever the thing is. After 90 days, what are you going to do? And it's real expensive to live. I believe Boston, Massachusetts is pretty expensive to live. So, and if you don't have regular income coming in, you're not really saving it, how are you going to survive? Anyway, to evict a guest who has overstayed their welcome, the homeowner will need to provide proper notice and follow the legal eviction process, which includes filing a complaint in court and attending a hearing. The court will then decide whether the guest should be evicted or not. So they're in your house. You open your door in your house and you letting the law, the government, this particular government that wants you to accept immigrants, illegal immigrants anyway, and they want you to help out, and you're going to leave it in their hands to decide whether or not this person belongs at your house, should stay. Okay, this is unreal. It's important to note that self-help evictions, such as changing the locks or turning off utilities, are illegal. They're illegal. I think they're illegal in most states. You can't just come in and, say, hey, you're no longer welcome here. You can't do that. Violating these laws can result in penalties and may even lead to the homeowner being liable for the guest court's costs and attorney fees. And the eviction process. Now, this is Grok. If y'all don't know, X has an AI function where you can ask them questions. Okay. So Grope AI. This eviction process in Massachusetts can take anywhere from 1 to 4 months, depending for the reasons of evictions, whether the tenant contests it. In some cases, it may take longer if the tenant files an appeal or requests a continuance. It's important to note that the timeline can vary based on individual circumstances, and it's best to consult with legal professional or specific guidance. Would you open up your home to illegal immigrants? Now that you have the information, I think Boston, Massachusetts is doing that lady and anybody else is opening up their homes a disservice, because what they're going to come back, if they have problems with their, the people that they're housing, they're unhoused illegal immigrants, they're going to come back and say, hey, I'm having problems. Well, this is what it is. We can't help you. This is what it is. This is the law. And they're going to be like, well, you guys didn't tell me that initially when I said agreed to this. Well, Mrs. So-and-so, you should have looked into that. That's not our responsibility. So Boston, Massachusetts, and their mayor is doing a big disservice to their residents. They don't have the information to make a cognitive and an intelligent decision whether or not to open up their home to illegal immigrants. And then all the other stuff that could happen, not only to the residents of America, but to the illegal immigrants. Child pornography, the enslavement of people, indentured servitude, all kinds of evil, manipulative stuff that could happen with this very thing. That's why I think they should just close the border. And if you're coming over and seeking asylum, go through the proper channels to get over here. Go through the proper channels. Then the people that's actually seeking asylum and that cross the border legally, just think their life would have been much, much better because they came over here legally, trying to gain their citizenship. But now those resources that they had for those people to get their residency status or their HB1 card or whatever, and citizenship is strained and taken away from them. So that's another problem. So they're stretching everything, all the resources is really gone. We don't have it. And they're stretching it too thin. They're just making stuff up as they go. I believe they're making stuff up as they go. The more migrants or immigrants that they could get in here, I think it has everything to do with the election. I believe it's politically motivated. It's a sad, sad situation. You guys put in the chat. Now that I gave you that information, put it in the chat. Let me know what you think about this situation. Okay. Lastly, let me see. This is going to be fun to watch. I'm going to sit in my chair and eat popcorn and watch it like Michael Jackson eating popcorn. Lexi, you're right. Eviction can be very costly. It does cost a lot. It's a setup. You're right. Sue said I would get them in English class right away, help them find a job, and encourage them to save their money for their own place. No. Nope. I wouldn't. I'll drop them off at the governor's mansion. Benita Nottingham, better pray that they don't take in a serial killer. Speaking of that, I'm not about to talk about a serial killer, but just illegal immigrants. A young lady, she had a trailer. I think she was down in Texas. She had a trailer, and her boyfriend rented a room in her trailer to an illegal immigrant. He wasn't in the same trailer. He was like next door. I guess they had two trailers. So she rented the room or whatever to the illegal immigrant. The dude was a serial killer. The boyfriend came home, very young girl, very young. I think she had to be like maybe 19, maybe 20 at the most. Her and her boyfriend was living together. They rented a trailer to this illegal immigrant. The illegal immigrant was young too, but he was a serial killer. I'm calling him a serial killer because he killed more than 3 people. He was a serial killer. I guess he came home one day, and I don't know if he was trying to get with the girl, but the boyfriend came home and he found the cord wrapped around, the phone cord wrapped around her neck. And come to find out, it was the guy that they let stay in their trailer. What do you say to that? I'm a firm believer. It's okay to help people out, but you shouldn't, compromise your safety because you're helping someone out. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable and letting people into your home. And some people, they don't mind being exposed to other people. But like if I had somebody that I didn't know in my house, I would be afraid to sleep. It would really make me uncomfortable because I can't lay my head right. And maybe that's just me being not trustworthy. I'm not for sure, but I wouldn't be able to sleep. Anyway, yeah, I pray that they don't run into a serial killer. And Kennard said they might take in a pervert. They might take in the perv, right? Or they might be the perv. That's why they will take them in. Anyway, you guys, my last story. A lot of people, I get a lot of comments saying, "Oh, Chawanne, you always talk about black folks. You always talking about black women in politics. Why you always doing that? You always talk about Democrats." Well, to appease the other side of the audience, because I do have some Democrats watching my show, to appease the other side of the audience. This next story is kind of an old story, but it came up on my radar because I wanted to talk about it because the guys that they just indicted, it seems kind of odd to me why they took so long to indict these guys. Anyway, in Ohio, I don't know if you guys heard of First Energy. First Energy, they enacted a bill back in 2019. And what the bill did was bail out nuclear coal, and it rolled back renewable energy efficiencies. So they kind of reversed, I guess, the green policy. I'm not for sure. But it allowed for First Energy, on this bill, allowed the energy companies to tax a rate, and I'm using tax because they didn't use, it's a rate that they charge to the consumers. And it was like 83 cents per billing cycle. But over the 6 years period, it allowed the energy company to collect $175 million. Okay, so just follow me. This HB 6 bill was passed by a former legislator. This former legislator, he was eventually the House Speaker, and by the name of, let me get to the name of Larry Householder. He's 64. He was indicted. He's expected to serve 20 years in prison for racketeering conspiracy to receiving nearly $61 million in bribes. Okay. So back in 2017, they funded his operation. First Energy did. They funded this operation to get him elected. So he got elected. But their main plan is to get Larry to introduce this HB 8 bill. So First Energy could tax all the people of the good citizens of Ohio 80 cents on their bill. So they could accumulate nearly $175 million or $176 million over a span of 6 years, and also another $20 million over a span of 3 to 4 years. Okay. So a total of $200 million. I think a total of $230 million. That's what they calculated. Anywho, so these people, the CEO of First Energy, so they cut. I don't know how they caught up to Larry Householder right away. Larry Householder, let me just pull his picture up so I could appease the audience. We're talking about a white individual, Larry Householder. He's the former Speaker of the House, so everybody could be happy. See, it's a white man. Everybody could be happy. He's heading to the, he's being shipped up the river. He's going to the feds. He's going to be in an orange jumpsuit. So everybody clap. Yeah, we got him. He took $60 million. That's how they got him, okay, in bribery from former First Energy executives. They eventually stepped down. Now they decided the DOJ, they end up announcing that, okay, we finally got enough. My bad. We finally have enough evidence to charge or indict the senior vice president and the CEO, Chuck Jones, Vice President Michael Dowling. They were charged with 27 count indictment. Okay. This is the second indictment Randazzo was named. So this Randazzo guy, I don't know if he's akin to Randazzo's, the grocery chain store. Don't know. But he's in Ohio. Okay. And they're saying that they announced these two indictments on these two people, and the chairman, former PUCO chairman Sam Randazzo, in the House Bill 6 scandal. The former CEO Chuck Jones and former senior vice president of external affairs Michael Dowling were charged in 27 count indictment for the first time. For the first time. Let me see if it's going to play.
Your cruise. A time to escape with.
It's going to be, I add. So Jones was indicted on 10 felony counts, 1 count of engaging in pattern of corrupt activity, 2 counts of aggravated theft of $1.5 million, 1 count of bribery, 2 counts of telecommunication fraud, and 4 counts of money laundering. Okay. Dowling was charged with 12 felony counts. And Randazzo, he was charged as well. So this is what they had to say about this.
Scandal from back in 2020.
Well, that scandal unveiled a scheme that benefited First Energy and lined the pockets of the former chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. 10 TV's Colin Dorsey has been reading that indictment today, and he joins us now live from the State House. Colin?
Yeah, that 50-page indictment outlines the 27 charges now leveled against the former First Energy CEO Chuck Jones and Vice President Michael Dowling. It also names Sam Randazzo and his 2 shell organizations as part of a grand scheme to manipulate the state's energy regulations.
Power is inherently seductive and corrosive. It attracts advantage seekers and their money as surely as flies swarm a carcass
27 counts ranging from theft and money laundering to bribery and records tampering, all waged against 3 men indicted for their alleged roles in the scandal that set out to benefit First Energy at the expense of the taxpayer. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost announced the new charges, which, for the first time since the scandal broke in 2020, take aim at the former First Energy leaders accused of paying the bribes.
This indictment is about way more than one piece of legislation. It is about the hostile capture of a significant portion of Ohio's state government by deception, betrayal, and dishonesty.
Yost and Deputy Attorney General Carol O'Brien also detailed how Sam Randazzo, a Governor Mike DeWine appointee to the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, took bribes through 2 shell companies to benefit First Energy, including the crafting of House Bill 6, which would have bailed out 2 nuclear plants owned by a First Energy subsidiary.
Mr. Randazzo lobbied on behalf of First Energy and took actions that resulted in benefits for First Energy during the course of his tenure at the PUCO.
Jones and Dowling of First Energy are accused of using $4.3 million of First Energy money to influence Randazzo in the scheme, which Yost calls the Jones racket.
First Energy's cash and the influence it bought were the jet fuel that propelled the Jones racket and its engine of corruption.
Now, it's unclear what this new indictment means for the ongoing federal investigation into corruption here at the State House. And that investigation has already landed former Ohio House Speaker Larry Householder behind bars for 20 years. And along with former Republican Chair Matt Borges, he's also spending 5 years in prison. Both were convicted in a pay-for-play scandal scheme that involved First Energy, helping Householder regain power in exchange for House Bill 6. Live from the State House.
So there you have it, folks. You heard that. The 2 things I want to point out. Okay, this pay-for-play, I think is nothing new under the sun. I think they always do that. Lobbyists. When we talk about lobbyists, I think it should be a law against elected officials to accept I think it should be against the law to have even lobbyists. Okay, why? I know you want to push forth your bill. I think it should be some type of collaboration, but you have this corruption throughout their whole entire organization. Even the guy was the Public Works Utility Commissioner. So there, if we really think about it, that's a problem that we've had in America for a very long time. This particular problem. We are allowing people to donate to different campaigns because they have their own agenda. And I think it should be against the law, or I think it should be at a certain dollar amount. It should be capped. I don't think a particular organization or a particular company should be able to donate to an organization. I remember working for a petroleum company, and they had a super PAC, and they tried to get everyone to donate in their super PAC. That's how they made their money. All their employees, oh, do you want to donate? We're going to, try to reach out to the senators or whatever. We're going to donate. And we're going to donate to those people that have our agenda in mind so they could stay in business or pass a bill that's in favor for this particular industry, which is totally ridiculous. Anyway, another thing I want to point out, that HB Bill 8, they haven't changed it. It's still in effect. There's some Democrats that's trying to, reform the bill, but it is still in effect. And you think after all this was revealed, this corruption scheme, they will automatically, I think the governor could do something, will automatically change the bill. But they're not. The taxpayers are still paying. So anyway, that's my story and my take on that. You guys let me know what you think on that. Let me know what you think. Samuel Matthews, he's saying, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. It's a sanctuary state, just so you know. Yeah, we talked about Boston yesterday. And yeah, we know it is a sanctuary city. Okay. And Lexi, you from Rhode Island. Just waiting for it to happen here, although I believe it's already started. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's spilling over there. Anywho, okay, so your Republican congressman, ex-congressman, he was convicted to 20 years in prison, and the former chair was, and I guess he's a Republican, he was convicted to 5 years in prison on this scandal. Okay, I just want to give a couple of shout outs to people, all the subscribers. Thank you for all the subscribers that tunes in every day to my channel, Monday through Friday. And also I want to highlight our members. If I could get to the page. Thank you, members. We're growing. These are the people that are supporting the channel on a monthly basis. It's a small subscription fee, but thank you so much. I really appreciate every single last one of you. Okay, we have some people. Taylor McNear, been a member since for 5 months. Appreciate you. So you guys will be edited again tomorrow on Wednesday at 1:30. Okay, so tune in tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we're going to have another update about Fani Willis, and we have some other stuff that's going on, so we'll talk about that. Okay, so I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.